Hi, folks. This is Elgin Subway Surfer Bowling, your creative caricature marketing consultant. Folks, I'm in teaching mode and I'm also feeling a little nostalgic. So I like to kill two birds with one stone. Well, animal rights activists don't like that metaphor, but I digress. I'm about to tell you the single most important thing that I learned as a beginning caricature artist, and that you better learn and master if you'd like people to keep putting smiles on your face and dollars in your hand. That is how to draw the pretty, ugly girl. Stay tuned. Who is the pretty, ugly girl? Well, she's the product of parents who have told her all of her life that she's beautiful. No, not just beautiful, that she's gorgeous, that she's a princess, that she's the most beautiful girl in the room, in whatever room she enters. They've told her that if people laugh at her, they're not laughing at her, they're laughing with her, and they are jealous that she is just so gorgeous. And these girls grow up believing every word their parents told. Nothing wrong with building up your child's self-esteem. I mean, I really am all for it. But as a caricature artist, I was taught by a caricature purist. His name was Dion Socia. I used to like to call him Don Socia. Well, Don Socia told me, don't fix them. When you're drawing a person, you want to be objective. You don't want to draw what's not there. You don't want to invent features that aren't there. You don't want to invent teeth that aren't there. You want to draw them as they are. That's a caricature purist. And that was what I was taught. So when I was a beginning artist, I tried that principle, and following is my result. Stay tuned. So there I was at this event, and suddenly this buxom, blonde, 200-pound kid, 12-year-old kid, in a bikini, sits down in front of me and wants to get her picture drawn. And let me tell you, she was happy and all smiles and excited, and she's wiggling around in her chair in anticipation. She can't wait to be drawn because, like I said before, she's one of these pretty, ugly girls who's been told all her life that she's gorgeous, and she can't wait to see the proof in black and white on paper. Well, folks, remember, I was taught by Don Socia not to fix them. And so I went to work on her. I wasn't trying to be mean. I really, truly wasn't. Believe me. But I wanted to get an accurate likeness. It had been drilled into me. I had worked hard to obtain that level of skill, and at one point I got so good at drawing exact likenesses that it really only took me 3 minutes to make a perfect likeness. If it took me 5 minutes to get one, it was because I was slouching, because I was schlepping along. And so I finished her caricature in 3 minutes. I showed it to her, and this was her response. You ruined my self-esteem. She literally said that. At that point, she began to cry. And I'm not talking about just a few droplets coming out of her eyes. I'm talking about twin Niagara Falls coming out of this poor little 12-year-old, 200-pound girl's eyeballs. It was incredible. And there was an accompanying sound that came with it out of her mouth that I can't even describe it. Now, things like this attract the attention of the hosts of the party, not to mention the parent, because as you know, every parent knows the sound of their child crying. Believe me, folks, if the customers aren't satisfied at a caricature gig and they complain to the host, you may get kicked out. You may not get paid. You're definitely not going to get a tip. And let me tell you, in those days, I was working for those tips, so I had to do something. Hey, where'd that umbrella come from? In no time flat, I found myself underwater, drowning, really, in a pool full of her tears. I quickly sucked in what little breath I had and began doing damage control. I thank the caricature gods that I always use waterproof caricature paper. And since a pen was useless in this instance, I also carry a pencil, which can write under any conditions. So I went to work on damage control. I drew furiously for the next 3 minutes because that's all the air that I had, and the pool was filling up. With my lungs crying for air, and with the last ounce of strength that I had, I pushed the completed caricature out of the pool of tears where she could look at it. I drew the most perfectly drawn, most beautiful picture of a girl that neither of us had ever seen before. And a magical thing happened. She turned the water off. Of course, as you might imagine, with this perfectly drawn, beautiful picture of a girl that neither of us had ever seen before, she was ecstatic. She was over the moon. She gave me a big hug. And believe me, you haven't been hugged until you've been hugged by a 200-pound 12-year-old with all of their strength, all of their pubescent strength. It was all I could do to not suffocate twice in a row. But there's a valuable lesson that I learned, that beauty, I guess, is in the eyes of the beholder. She saw herself as beautiful, regardless of what I or anybody else thought. Her parents had done their job. I mean, why would you tell your kid that they're ugly? Why would you give them that type of start in life? You want to give your child every advantage that they can have. And if it means lying to them, telling them they're beautiful and gorgeous and they're really not, then that's their business, not my business. My business is to draw those caricatures and make them happy. I didn't tell Don Socia about this, and I hope he doesn't find out about this. This is Elgin, Subway Surfer Bowling, your creative caricature marketing consultant, and that's how you draw the pretty, ugly girl. You better make them pretty. I'm telling you, you better make them pretty. If you like this video, if you were entertained and informed, and I hope that you were, then please smash that subscriber button. I always wanted to say that. Smash that subscriber button and comment what you thought about the video. I love to read your comments, and I'd love to hear from you. My email address is cartoons4u2@aol.com. That's cartoons, the number 4, the letter U, the number 2 at AOL.com. Thank you.